Devon Taylor, Devon Taylor, Devon Taylor, Devon Taylor Podcast. Devon Taylor, Devon Taylor, Devon Taylor, Devon Taylor, Podcast.
Hi, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Devon Taylor Podcast, where we have guests from all around the world tell their unique and powerful stories to not only allow their voice to be heard, but for you to leave feeling inspired. Today's guest is a leader redefining how we think about health, healing, and hope. As founder and CEO of the Diabetes Reversal Group, he's proving that type 2 diabetes doesn't just have to be managed, it can be reversed. His approach bridges science, technology, and compassion in a way that's transforming lives across the country. So I'm happy to welcome Dr. Jeffrey Hockings. Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good. How are you?
Doing great, man.
Thank you for being here. I'm really excited to dive in and kind of learn more. Obviously, we all hear about type 2 diabetes kind of being, once you're diagnosed, you're pretty much stuck with it for life. But before we go into the science part about it, I kind of wanted to know what inspired you to challenge the traditional way of approaching type 2 diabetes.
Yeah, well, first of all, it runs in our family. I had an aunt who died of diabetes when I was younger, and my wife's dad, he unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago from type 2, ironically, when his son-in-law was the world's leading expert at reversing type 2. But he was one of those guys that just didn't want to change his lifestyle. So you can't really help people like that. But that's what inspired us because it's very personal to us. And so we decided 16 years ago to start this company because we saw a need that was out there and there was really no program that somebody could join that showed you exactly what to do, what not to do. And that's where we decided to do it. And yeah, it's been a really interesting journey the last 16 years, but we're excited for all the results we get and just really, really fired up about the future, about helping millions of diabetics around the world.
That's beautiful. And it's crazy how death can bring us, into more of our purpose and why we were called here to do, what we're doing now. But I mean, obviously, the deaths in your family, were those the stories that kind of made you realize that reversal could be possible, not just management?
Well, again, I've been in healthcare 35 years, so did this company 16 years. First 18 years of my career, my wife and I, we built and sold 4 wellness centers in Southern California. So, so I got into that. And of course, my expertise is I'm a doctor of chiropractic. So in chiropractic college, we got trained on wellness, nutrition, anatomy, physiology, and we got trained that diabetes is reversible with lifestyle changes. And we didn't discover that. It's been reversible forever. There's medical references proving it, but there was really nothing 16 years ago, as I said, where somebody could join a program that shows somebody exactly what they can eat and what not to eat, what supplements to take, what exercise to do, provide coaching, training, and guarantee results. So my wife and I created it. So now we have this A to Z program somebody can join that walks them through the whole process and gets them to that reversal. So it's really, really cool. So that's what kind of started the whole process for us.
That's beautiful. And you guys have obviously been able to help a lot of people. What do you think would deter someone? I mean, obviously, you've had someone in your own life kind of not take the steps, but what do you think deters someone from, hearing this news and knowing that they can actually change it?
Yeah, it's literally just somebody who does not want to change your lifestyle. And again, you can't help people like that. I mean, you've seen the pictures even with like smokers where they get lung cancer, throat cancer, and they get, and they have a hole in their throat and they're still putting a cigarette in there. You think that someone like that would learn not to smoke. The same thing with eating. There's some people that just do not want to change their lifestyle. They're addicted to certain foods and they'd rather take a bunch of medications and deal with the consequences than to have to change their life. So that's really interesting. And it's just kind of a human nature thing we found over the years that people have to want to change. And a lot of times people don't want to do that until they get a lot of symptoms and they get scared. Like they don't want to get their foot cut off or they don't want to go blind or go on dialysis. So now they say, oh, I got to stop screwing around now, and
Yeah.
make the change. But even some of those people, like my father-in-law, just did not want to do it. He'd rather take his insulin and take all the meds and eat the way he wants to eat. And he paid the ultimate sacrifice for that. But yeah, so that's kind of what happens. And there's really no way to motivate somebody to want to do this. They have to want to do it on their own. Once they want to, we have the steps to help them achieve it.
and this makes me curious to ask now, what do you believe is the biggest step or biggest component that helps with this reversal?
Yeah, well, it's definitely eating the right foods. You've got to stop eating certain things that cause insulin resistance. And most people know what it is, like a lot of the bad carbs, a lot of the sugars and desserts and sodas and all of that. So again, people have to want to do that. We also provide our nutritional supplements, which is essential to helping somebody kind of jumpstart their body, give it the nutrients and support it needs to really help to heal. So that's what we got patented was, what you can eat and not eat and the ingredients and dosages of our nutritional supplements. So those are the two things like our secret sauce that someone has to do. And when they do that, blood sugar starts coming down and their doctor is able to gradually wean them off of all their medications.
That's beautiful. What is the biggest misconceptions you encounter about type 2 diabetes, both from
Well, biggest
patients?
one is that, literally 99% of diabetics have no idea it's reversible because their
Mm,
doctors aren't telling them that it is. And it's not the doctor's fault either, because the doctors in med school, they're not trained that you can reverse type 2. They're trained that you can only manage it. Like once you have it, like you said, you have it forever. And the only way you can treat it is to manage it with medications and hope that someone doesn't get worse. That's what they're trained on. So when the patients don't know it's reversible, it's not because their doctors are hiding it from them or have any sinister intent. It's not like that. They just literally don't know. So that's the biggest hurdle. That's why we offer a lot of webinars for people to watch to say, wow, I had no idea. And that's the most common thing we get is say, how come my doctor never told me about this? And we tell them, look, it's not your doctor's fault. They literally don't know. So that's the biggest misconception is that most people do not think it's reversible. And we have to educate them that it is.
You've built the diabetes reversal group around real-time glucose monitoring and personalized data. How does this technology help patients understand their bodies in a new way?
Yeah, so our patients have to check their blood sugar on a regular basis because that's how we know they're getting better. And that's very easy because they either with the continuous glucose monitor or just checking it themselves, poking their finger with the glucometer, they can see real results quickly. And so that's how we manage them. So they have to check in with their support coach at least once a week with their blood sugar numbers. And then we can see that trend start coming down, down, down. And once that number gets to below about 105 in the morning, that's when we tell them to contact their doctor so the doctor can start, reducing some of the medication. So it's really neat because the patients can see this in real time and the results are so quick. That's one of the things that makes people want to do our program and stick with it because literally the first day they start our program, they see their blood sugar dropping. And so it
Yeah,
doesn't take 30 days to see results. And that's what's really incredible about it.
that's beautiful. I my biggest question when I'm hearing this is how, because a lot of people are using insulin when they're type 2. Um, how are you guys managing that, like that transition, since it's, we're reversing it? How are you managing the transition of, using the medication to, coming off of it?
Yeah. So our first thing is our patients are always under the care of their primary physician. So we're not the ones diagnosing them. We don't take them off the meds or put them on meds, right? They're already coming to us as a diagnosed type 2, taking a bunch of meds. So all we're doing is coaching them through our reversal program. And as that blood sugar starts dropping, right, that's when the doctor will adjust the medication. So even if they're on insulin, so say they're taking 100 units, after a week or so, now the doctor drops it down to 70 units. Then they'll drop it down to 50. So it's a gradual weaning process. They don't just get off of all the meds cold turkey, right? That's not safe.
Yeah,
So their doctor will be the one that determines, hey, it's time to cut another 20 units or another 25 units, until eventually they're off of all the insulin. So that's the
yeah,
game plan with it. So it's really exciting and it's neat to see the doctor's eyes open up because again, they weren't trained how to do this. So when they see, oh my gosh, you're getting really good. We got to cut some more medications. So the doctors are more than willing to reduce the dose of the meds as long as they see the numbers coming down. And that's what our job is to kind of give their doctor that objective evidence they need to safely start weaning them off their medications.
have you had any doctors reach out and like say like, what are you doing, or like, thank you so much for helping my patient? And what has the response been?
See, ironically, we don't see a lot of docs saying, hey, that's great. Can you show me how to do this so I can help more patients? They're just so busy in their practice, seeing 30, 40 people a day in and out, in and out. So they're more than happy to wean them off, but we don't get a lot of referrals from them, unfortunately. I don't know what it is, mindset thing. They're not really into wellness. I don't know what. So that's why we're going direct to consumer right now, because then the patients join our program, and then the doctor, basically, they're forced to reduce the dose of the meds because the blood sugar's coming down, which is really nice.
That must be, I mean, there must be a way to connect that, because that would be amazing to have doctors backing what you guys are doing, because obviously it's working. And I mean, what's the reception from the customer? Are they amazed? Are they surprised? Are they, taken back by this idea that they're actually reversing their diagnosis?
Yeah, I mean, the patients are blown away. I mean, they just like, oh my gosh, I've never felt this good in years, and my sex drive's improved, and I've lost some weight, I'm off all the meds, I'm sleeping better. So they just get phenomenal results, and so they love it. But again, the thing with the doctors, like we've tried to reach out to them, but it's just like it's a mindset, almost a philosophical shift, because for them to believe what we're doing, it's almost like they have to unlearn what they were taught. And it's a hard thing. Like, oh my gosh, I was wrong. This is really reversible. So it's just a weird thing. But we are working with some physician networks now, with some certain classes of physicians that are kind of more open to wellness, like concierge medical doctors, direct primary care doctors that aren't as focused on just giving a medication for everything. Then also working with chiropractors, dentists, podiatrists, optometrists, audiologists. So all of them can send patients to us too, because they're all seeing diabetics, but none of them are doing anything to reverse it. So
Yeah.
we're really working on getting out our distributorship program for doctors all over the country, because yeah, they're the ones that are seeing the diabetics on a daily basis, and we have the solution.
Yeah. I mean, and that's remarkable. I mean, what you guys are doing for people, and just, helping them in their diagnosis. But it makes me want to ask, how does that make you guys feel, doing this great work for people and literally changing their lives? How are you guys feeling that, it's maybe not getting as much attention as it probably deserves?
Yeah, well, number one, we feel excited. We've been doing this for 16 years, and we've helped a lot, like thousands and thousands of people reverse their diabetes. So, but we are now focusing really hard on doing more national expansion and getting the word out more. And because we do have the solution, we're looking at, hey, how do we get in front of RFK Jr., and say, so we can try and get our program covered by Medicare and Medicaid. So those are all things that we're working on just to get the word out more. And we're also expanding into India. We'll be going into there in January. It's going to be our first international expansion. So that's exciting. So, because we're a telemedicine company now for the last couple of years, it makes it easy for us, because now we can reach any diabetic anywhere in the country. They don't have to come into a clinic. It's all done telemedicine. So it kind of expands our reach pretty fast.
Which is beautiful. Yeah. I've had a few different guests on, and they talk about their breakthrough in medicine, and just the lack of national news, or a national attention to me is just so shocking. So I'd love to ask,
Well,
just kind of,
right, there's no incentive, right, for, pharmaceutical companies or, the food industry to make people healthier. I understand that. It's a business model, right? I mean, it's like if you're a tobacco company, you want people smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day, right? I mean, it's like you sell alcohol, you want people drinking a lot. So if you're a pharmaceutical company, you want people sick, so they take your medication. So that's kind of a lot of what's, fostering all of this, is that there's really no incentive for the big business to help people get healthy, as sad as that is. So that's why we're not getting a lot of that media coverage. It's not an accident, it's intentional. And I get it. That's they're trying to maintain that control and sell their product. And the cool thing is, though, like, I'm a realist in this too, right? I understand that, there are going to be the majority of people that even when they hear what we do, they're not going to want to do it, because they would rather take the medications than they have to change their lifestyle. So we're not going to put big pharma out of business. It's not going to happen, right? But for that 10 or 20% of people who want to reverse it when they hear it's reversible, that's where we come in.
well, you know what I love so much about just your approach is that you're so optimistic and so uh, like happy, and there's not really like the thought of big pharma, being in the way. Like, you're kind of just doing your own thing, and who finds you, you're helping who you can help, which is such a beautiful way to approach a business, because you're not worried essentially. And I love
Well, yeah, I
that.
mean, there's 38 million diabetics in the US. And, so we're not going to get all of those who want to do our program. So even if just 10, 20%, that's still 7, 8 million people that would
Yeah.
want to do our program. That's a lot of people. And again, even big pharma, like they understand that there's, if people change their lifestyle, they won't have to take as many medications. So, but they're in the business of, hey, for those people that don't want to change their lifestyle, it's a good thing the medications are there because it's saving a lot of people's lives, right? Because in my father life, he didn't take all those meds, he would have died 15, 20 years ago. So, so I'm not saying all medications are bad, or we're just giving them people that option that, hey, if you don't want to take these meds, there's a way to do that and we can help you. So,
Hmm. I love that. What role? Because I think just speaking to what you were saying, and like I was saying earlier, just like I love the way that you approach things. What role does mindset play in someone's transformation when it comes to making that decision whether to continue taking the medications or to make the transformation with you guys and start to revert, their diagnosis?
yeah, I mean, it's the whole ball game, right? I mean, again, the mindset, they've got to want to do it. And the sad part is that, most of our patients who join our program, they've been a diabetic for 5 years or more. They're taking 6 or 7 medications. They feel horrible, low sex drive, sleeping bad, symptoms, neuropathy, kidney issues. And they get to that breaking point where they finally say, holy crap, I'm scared I'm going to die. I need to stop screwing around. And so that's the typical person that joins. So they get to that mindset like they're afraid. It's the diabetic who's in their late 40s, who's taking one pill with no symptoms. They're not going to join our program. There's no urgency for that person, right? Unfortunately, they got to get worse before they decide to stop screwing around. They'll say, oh, yeah, when I get worse, I'll give you a call. So we have people doing that like 5, 6 years later after hearing about us, they call us and say, hey, now I'm scared. Can I join your program? Like, yeah, you could have done it 5 years ago, but yeah, we got you. So that's kind of interesting. So the mindset is big. Like they have to want to do it. And as you know, you can't force motivation on somebody.
Yeah.
It's like you can't force somebody to go to the gym and work out. They've got to want to do it. No matter what you try to entice them or anything else, something's got to click in their brain. Okay, now I want to do this. And there's lots of support even for working out. You can hire a personal trainer to kind of hold you accountable. And that's why people join our program. They want that accountability with a coach, holding them and walking them through this process, holding their hand to make sure they achieve the reversal. And so that's kind of how it is. Yeah, the mindset's a big thing. And also when they see results very quickly in our program, like they do, that helps keep them motivated to stick with it.
Yeah. And I wonder, I guess the next question that came up in my mind was what has been the most common transformation that you've seen among your customers?
Yeah, so it's definitely, getting off the medications is huge. And so, but one of the biggest things we see is an increase in sex drive because diabetes, it affects the hormones, circulation, biochemistry, lowers testosterone, lowers the sex drive, sexual performance. And so people that like, oh my gosh, I feel like, I'm 25 years younger. And so the energy increase, that's another big thing we see. They're sleeping better. So those are the biggest things we see. Like, I haven't felt this good in 25 years, and people were losing hope. Like, I thought this is going to be the way I have to live the rest of my life, which is feeling horrible, taking all these meds and symptoms. And all of a sudden that goes away. Like, what in the world? Like, some of these people have been on medications for 25, 30 years or more. And now they're off of all of them. And that's like, I mean, they literally had no idea that was even possible. So it gives them hope back that you don't have to be locked in taking these medications, feeling bad for the rest of your life.
Like getting a second chance at life almost.
Yeah, it's very cool, man. That's what keeps us all fired up still. After doing this as long as I've been doing it, to get those success stories every day and see how their lives have changed. I mean, my gosh, there's no better way, to kind of live your life is to helping people kind of save their life and get their life back. I mean, it's very, very rewarding.
Living with so much purpose. I love that. What have you learned about the emotional or psychological side of recovery that often gets overlooked in traditional healthcare?
Yeah, again, it goes back to what I kind of touched on is like when people come to us, they literally had no hope. Like to get up every day and your life is poking your finger to check your blood sugar, popping your pills, getting worse, afraid of going to your doctor the next visit because they're going to say, well, you got worse. I got to increase the dosage or add another medication. I mean, it's just all bad news. And to have that like hanging around your head every day, like, what's going to be the next symptom that's going to happen? Am I going to get a heart attack and a stroke? Am I going to die? What's going on in their brain, and it's putting their head on their pillow every night thinking, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm doing everything my doctor is telling me to do, but I'm getting worse every 6 months or increasing my medications. Like, that's the biggest thing. Like, it affects them emotionally, and they don't even feel like themselves anymore. So once they see that hope, and all of a sudden now they're like, hey, I'm really thinking this can happen. I might be able to get off all these meds. It's like, and they've never experienced that. And that's what's so incredible to see that transformation. And that just goes out to the whole rest of their family, their friends. All of a sudden, wow, like, you look better. You've lost some weight. You look more energetic. It's like the hope comes back. And it's incredible to see that transition in someone's life where no hope to hope. I mean, come on, man. It's like, it's so incredible to see that. And that's why we get so jazzed every day with what we're doing. It's really cool.
Do you guys get close to your customers? Because I mean, obviously you're seeing these big transformations, and I can see there's a lot of emotion when you're talking about it because, obviously it's amazing what you guys are doing. But do you guys, create a relationship and, get to know these people on a deeper level?
Yeah, well, I don't personally because I'm the one running the company, right? But our
Yeah.
support coaches definitely do. Like, the coaches are speaking with these people at least once a week, sometimes multiple times per week. And it becomes that crutch for them, the first 30 days or so until they kind of get in the swing of things. But I mean, it's definitely, they go along with the ride and have that relation like, wow, my coach is awesome. We see the testimony. I'm so glad my coach was there for me. It really helped me during some down times, etc. So yeah, we get to know them very well because this is a one-on-one thing. It's not just here's the stuff, you go do it on your own and let us know what happens in 5 months. I mean, we're walking them through this every single day. And so yeah, we get to know all their hopes and their fears and their dreams. Again, the improvements they're getting. And a lot of them are married. So we hear the spouse like, oh my gosh, I'm getting my husband back. I'm getting my wife back. So those are all the things we hear. So it's pretty incredible.
Yeah. And like I said, I've had guests on here before, and a lot of them have talked about just the changes in the medical field that we're seeing now. What do you feel, or what do you think the future of personalized health looks like in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, again, I think the trend is going more towards wellness, and that's happened for the last 20 years that I've seen it, where more and more people, I think because of the internet, there's a lot of alternative news where now you're hearing more of the truth about, hey, guess what? You can live your life without having to take medications. It should be
Hmm.
a last resort, not a first resort. So I think it's the trend is going that way more with wellness and people eating better, learning more. There's so much information out there now, like, nobody can give the excuse, "Oh, I didn't know that blah blah blah." Like, yeah, come on, you really did know, you just didn't want to do it. So there's so much information out there now about wellness and how to stay healthy and prevent disease, and I think that's going to keep going. So that's what I see as far as the trend is more wellness, more people doing their own thing, taking accountability, eating better, exercising, so they don't have to depend so much on medications. And we're excited to be a part of that.
Yeah, I love that. If you could change one thing about how our healthcare system approaches chronic illness, what would it be and why? I'm sure you've kind of touched on it a little bit, but
Yeah, it's literally, making the doctors more aware that it is reversible and that chronic disease like heart disease and diabetes, it is reversible. And obviously it's preventable, right? That's the first step. But again, I'm a student of human nature. I learned like 30 years ago, it's very hard to sell prevention because people just don't really think about their health until they have some kind of symptom or it's some urgency. Then they think about it. So if we go on that end of it, again, it's getting the doctors to be more open to, hey, guess what? Yeah, there's a place for medications, but there's also a place for eating better, exercising, taking supplements. So don't discount that, embrace it, and offer that to your patients in addition to meds and kind of let them choose. Here's the natural way. Here's the drug way. What do you want to do? I got you covered both ways. But right now, that's not even an option. It's just medication, medication, medication. And that's how they're trained. So that's what I hope would change. Because once the doctors get it, like, oh, okay.
yeah. And do you think what's it called if they if they changed the training, they would possibly, take a different approach? Why do you think the doctors are only taking?
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
obviously,
that's
no big pharma, but
yeah. Well,
there's got to
again, I
be.
mean, in med school, guess what? Doctors are trained on three things in med school primarily. It's how to diagnose what's wrong with you, right? Treat it with a medication. If the medications don't work, do surgery. That's it. Right? They're not trained in nutrition, exercise, wellness, chiropractic, acupuncture, not trained in any of that. It's literally diagnosis, medication, surgery. And that's not accidental. Like, again, you got to decide, like, who is it that decides what's taught and not taught in med schools, right? There's a conscious decision on what they're taught. They can be taught these other things, but they're not. So that's probably a whole nother discussion we can have, but you can probably guess, who's pulling the strings behind the scenes, right? And so that's
Mhm.
really where it starts. And so that's why even the doctors I know, medical physicians that know some of this wellness stuff, they got trained outside of med school. They took some functional medicine training or something else to learn about nutrition, wellness, et cetera, because they certainly weren't trained on it in med school, which is sad. They should be.
Yeah, I'm hearing it and you are describing it, it honestly sounds like it makes no sense to me, but it's one of those things that just kind of like us, people in society, we've kind of just learned to accept. And until we have people like you who are doing something that is kind of challenging or changing or pushing the boundary on health and how we treat ourselves, um, I feel like it really just makes a difference. And that's why I'm honored to be interviewing you. So thank you again.
Yeah.
But you've already helped thousands transform their lives. What keeps you motivated to keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible in medicine?
Yeah, it's just there's still, the majority of people just don't know that you can reverse it. So that's why we're pushing as hard as we can and growing as fast as we can because we want to make it so that every diabetic in the US, they know that, hey, this disease you have is reversible. Now, whether you choose to do it or not is a different story, but we want to make sure at least they know they have that option. So that's what keeps us fired up is we want to keep growing and expanding and being able to promote more, do a lot of joint ventures with bigger companies and networks, et cetera, to get it to where everybody in the US is at least seen like, yeah, when I'm ready, I know I can reverse this, but I'm not ready yet. And then of course expanding to other countries because there's 425 million diabetics in the world. And again, we've got the solution. So it's on us now because we have this solution, the only patented system in the world that reverses type 2 diabetes. So it's on us to get that out there around the world so more people can get helped. That's what
Yeah,
keeps us fired up.
that's beautiful. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I just have a few more questions. When you look back years from now, what do you hope your work with DRG has changed, not just in healthcare, but in how people believe in their ability to heal?
Yeah, and we definitely want people to know that they're empowered and that they can reverse this disease. And so that's what I want to be able to look back on and say, hey, we did our work. We got the word out there, and now everybody knows it's reversible. And then it's just okay. Now we're here. When you're ready, we'll be here for you. That's what we want to have happen. Where there's not a single person in this country, at least the U.S. to start off with, that doesn't know that. Yep, it's reversible, and I'm just not ready to do it, or I am, etc. It's like people knowing that, yeah, I know exercise is good. If I go to the gym and work out, I'm going to get healthier. So people know that. They don't know yet that everybody can reverse diabetes. So that's our goal is to get to the point where everybody knows it. So when I look back, and say, yeah, we accomplished that. That's going to be our biggest thing that we want to see.
What if 10 years from now, no one had diabetes because everyone was a part of uh, your service, and now you got it completely changed. You've changed the world. That would be beautiful.
Yeah, that would be great. Again, but I'm just a realist. I've been doing this a long time. I just know human nature. There's always going to be people that are willing to do it and always people that aren't willing to do it. And it's just good that people have options. As long as they know they got an option, hey, you're your own person, right? It's a free country. You can choose to do what you want. But right now, it's like the options not been given to them because it's being suppressed and they don't know it's reversible. That's what gets me upset. And we're trying to change that. Now, if you know it's reversible and you say, hey, that's good, but I don't want to do it, great. Hey, long as like that's my thing because I know when everybody knows, there'll be enough of them that want to do it that's going to make an impact in the world. But yeah, for me to think that one day, like no one will be diabetic because of our program, I just don't see that happening in my lifetime.
I love
That would be
it.
nice.
When you, this just made me random quick. When you were a kid, what did you like want to be when you grew up? Was it anywhere working in medicine? Was it like, did you have different dreams? Because it just makes me so curious. You're just you're a realist, but like you're doing something that's so powerful. So
Yeah.
I love
Well,
it. You know.
yeah, I wanted to be a chiropractor when I was younger because I went when I was really young, had an issue that a chiropractor helped with that medical doctors couldn't help with. So when I got into high school and said, yeah, I want to be a doctor, it was pretty obvious for me which kind of doctor I wanted to be. Because again, even then, our family was like that, very into sports and we were more into health. And so everyone was in good shape. And so that was, I wanted to be more in a wellness field, not just prescribing meds, doing surgery. Like my whole thing was, how do you live your life so you never need the meds and you don't need surgery? That's what I want to be in. So again, not that there's not a need for medical doctors and surgery, right? And there's a need for that sometimes. But my job is let's make sure that doesn't happen. Or if
Mm,
someone is taking meds, how can we help them change their life so they can get off of them? So that's kind of why I want to get into that. And so it's been a really nice thing. I've been in healthcare 35 years now, and it's been very exciting. So we've done a lot of cool things, and the best is yet to come.
yeah. Well, thank you so much for just sharing your story, for being here, for helping my audience realize that there's so much change happening within the medical field, and your company is definitely making an impact. And I hope you guys can continue to do that. But before I let you go, I would love for you to let everyone know, where can they find you, where can they follow you, if they have type 2 diabetes, where can they sign up for some help, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So if they have type 2 or they have a family member who's got type 2 or a friend, just send them to reverseyourdiabetes.com. Reverseyourdiabetes.com, and they can register for our free webinar that we have where they can just watch it. There's no pressure. They learn all about how it works, and then they can make a decision if they want to do that. But that's the first place to go. Just go to that and you can register for a free webinar and learn more about it and how you can just help yourself and get off all these meds. So yeah, it's reverseyourdiabetes.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much again, Dr. Hawkins. I really do appreciate you being here. And before I let you go, I don't know if you have any last words for anyone, or if you want to, any encouraging words.
Yeah, I think last thing I just want to say is again that, if you're a type 2 diabetic, or taking medications, you can make changes to your lifestyle and get off those meds. You do not have to keep living your life with these meds every single day with no hope. So there is hope, and you just need some people to kind of be in your corner, encourage you, and we can help you do that.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Dr. Hawkins. Once again, guys, I will see you guys next week for the next episode. But until then, have a good day. Thank you.
Hey guys, it's Icarus here,
And Amelia.
and I'm here to tell you if you'd like to join our brand new adventure. Go to DevonTaylorAuthor.com to learn more.
And check out the cool items like the new bucket hat.
Yeah, and so much more. See you guys there.